America is a country built from diverse people coming together. When millions of Americans stand up together to make a difference in their community, they speak with one voice and lives are forever changed. Recovery Month is a great example of this collective unity. In 2008, more than 800 events held throughout the country were posted on the Recovery Month website. There were walks, fairs, concerts, picnics, art displays, educational events, sober motorcycle rides, baseball games, and many other types of events that reached millions of Americans. Individuals touched by addictions and now healed through recovery stood together in support of one another, showing that recovery from addiction is very real, very possible, and that recovery saves lives and dollars. I'm very proud of this collaboration, but more importantly, you too should be proud. Your work and dedication to make a progressive contribution to our society is remarkable. I'd like to thank all the Recovery Month planning partners for their partnership and leadership, as well as the many volunteers, friends, and families of the addiction recovery community who made these events possible.
The Iowa Department of Public Health put together a family day at the Blank Park Zoo in Des Moines. Attendees received passports informing them on the day's activities, which included recovery event speakers, prize drawings, and of course, seeing all the animals. The Gadsden Treatment Center, in collaboration with other substance abuse agencies, organized a recovery walk in Gadsden, Alabama. Over 700 people came out and raised over $7,000 toward area substance abuse treatment. Aside from the walk itself, the event featured vendor tables with treatment information as well as fun activities including inflatables for children, face painting, horseshoes, food, and live music. The National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse of St. Louis sponsored a Hands Across the Bridge rally. Several hundred supporters from Missouri and Illinois assembled at the Chain of Rocks Bridge to join hands and connect both states. Recovery speakers and elected officials spoke at the event, and a unified crowd enjoyed a day of food, fun activities, and live music. Recovery supporters in Delaware celebrated Recovery Month in their state by holding a kickoff luncheon. Delaware Governor Ruth Ann Minner was on hand to speak and to recognize several individuals for their work in the substance abuse treatment field. River Valley Behavioral Health organized a Stand for Recovery. Citizens of Owensboro, Kentucky gathered publicly on the lawn of Owensboro Courthouse to stand and show their support for the recovery movement. Rhode Islanders celebrated Recovery Month by attending a Recovery Day event in their state capital of Providence. The event featured food, face painting, guest speakers, and live music, as well as prevention activities, displays of the recovery quilt, and a vigil for the remembrance of loved ones who were lost to the disease of addiction. Faces and Voices of Recovery Greenville put together a Rally for Recovery concert. Admission to the event was free, and tables were set up to allow patrons to register to vote. The St. Mark's Inspirational Choir kicked off the music festivities, and the evening concluded with a performance by national touring singer-songwriter Livingston Taylor. Portland's Overdose Prevention Project again hosted its annual Recovery and Wellness Resource Fair. The event served as a way to inform and educate participants, as well as providers, about recovery-oriented resources and health promotion-related services within the community. The Beacon House Association of San Pedro held its 24th annual Recovery Block Party. This event has grown to become a premier event in the recovery community. The event featured arts and crafts, live entertainment, speaker meetings, information booths, and plenty of food. Waianae Women in Recovery held their 7th annual Women and Children Campout. In addition to workshops dealing with women's issues, the event allowed women to spend a fun-filled afternoon with their children by enjoying meals, arts and crafts, and several fun and sometimes messy games and activities. The Department of Health and Mental Hygiene sponsored a Recovery Month state kickoff in Catonsville, Maryland. Highlights included recognition of elected officials, display tables for local vendors and substance abuse information, as well as food and live entertainment for all to enjoy. A&E Network, in partnership with the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, hosted the Recovery Project Rally in New York City. Thousands of people from across the country joined in a historic walk across the Brooklyn Bridge to raise awareness and show support for recovery from addiction. The celebration took place at City Hall Park and featured live music from several bands, as well as appearances from A&E talent, national leaders, and special guest celebrities. Alaska Family Services held its second annual recovery celebration. Several members from the community were invited to share their stories of addiction and recovery. The event also featured performances from other members of the community, as well as information tables set up with resources to help with the journey toward sobriety. The event concluded with a memorial to honor family and friends who have lost their lives to the disease of addiction. Western Dakota Tech was the site of a South Dakota Recovery Day celebration. Two speakers stood up to share their stories about the impact of their addictions on their college careers and how they went on to find recovery. Residents of the Columbus area of Ohio celebrated an afternoon of music and recovery with their Rally for Recovery celebration and jam. Various musicians, both regionally and nationally known, were given the opportunity to entertain the crowd with different styles of music. Several keynote speakers also took the stage to speak, and awards for excellence in service were presented to those who have committed themselves to making a difference in the field of addiction recovery. Friends of Recovery Capital District hosted their first annual Recovery Run, Walk, and Family Day celebration. The theme for the event was Let Your Life Speak, the goal of which was to celebrate sobriety and promote recovery in an effort to reduce the stigma of addiction. In addition to the run and walk, there were games, prizes, and food, as well as informative health and safety booths to promote family safety. Community members from Henderson, Kentucky showed their support for recovery by participating in a recovery walk. Kentuckians united to walk to the Women's Addiction Recovery Manor, where a celebration was held that featured recovery speakers, refreshments, children's activities, and a balloon launch in remembrance of those lost to addiction.
I'm just amazed at a group of young people between the ages of 15 and 20 who have hit bottom, who they end up in jail, they end up on the streets, they have no family ties. And I've watched those kids go to treatment and put their lives back together, kids that everybody else has given up on. But when the parents get involved, get back involved, and the kids, they're miracles. They're miracles. I work on the other end of the street also, trying to intervene on kids real early. Because if we can stop it, if we can intervene on their drug use and get them straight, they won't end up like that. I think treatment does wonderful, wonderful things, but I don't want my grandchildren to end up there. So that's why I work on both sides of the street.